Hi everyone. So it's the day before the solar eclipse, and I would like to know, how are these energies treating you? Because for me, it's definitely been a little up and down, a little bit rocky. Things have been coming up from my past that I thought I dealt with, and I was just so certain of it. All these emotions like fear and guilt and just grief and anger and all of this stuff that I thought, man, I've dealt with that. It's gone, it's done, I cleared it, I'm good. Apparently I was not, and there's still residue coming back up. Now that's happening with everybody right now because of this upcoming solar eclipse and because of all of the other crazy cosmic events and portals that we've had this month. This last 6 weeks really is what I feel like it's been like really pushing. And in my conversations with other people, I'm also seeing a pattern, and I'm part of this pattern too. The theme that I'm seeing primarily is fear. Fear of not being good enough, fear of whether we did something wrong in the past, fear about whether we're going to be able to make our goals happen in the future, fear about hurting somebody's feelings, fear about not being heard or being misinterpreted or not being seen or being seen. Everybody's got these fears of something right now. And it's intense. And I'm assuming it's got to be really intense because I've just been barraged by all of these people coming to me with this kind of like, what's going on with me attitude. And it's because it's crazy. We're all mixed up in it. We're all purging. We're all just clearing out this residue. Now, when we have a solar eclipse, especially a really potent one, like the one that we're coming into tomorrow, it gives us an opportunity to really start a new chapter. Every eclipse season gives us that opportunity to start a new chapter in our lives. But this one is really intense. We're starting a new era of our lives, not just a new chapter. And in order to do that, in order to move into the new, we have to make room for new things to come in. That's why all of these things are coming up. That's why this residue is coming up, and old karmic stuff and old emotions that we thought we dealt with, memories, all of that stuff, that yucky stuff that doesn't make us feel very good. Those things are coming up right now because we're being pushed to let go of it. And it is crunch time with the eclipse coming tomorrow. So if you feel like, especially for the last few days, like you've been going crazy, in a little bit, yeah, you have. But it's because we're letting things go. At least we hope we're letting things go. If you're not letting it go, if you're holding on really tightly to it, please stop. Let it go so that you can move into the new. And the reason why I'm doing this video today, because I was not expecting to, the reason I'm doing this video is because my team specifically told me very insistently that I needed to send out a message about this because so many people are facing this fear right now. So I pulled some cards because I wanted to give us a tangible way of looking at the energy, something clear message to come through. So I will probably be channeling some things, but some of this is also still just the cards. So the first cards that I pulled from, were the, if you can see that, the Kuan Yin Oracle by Elena Fairchild. And I just kind of wanted to look at where we're at energetically, where our emotions at, what's going on with our spiritual path, where we're all kind of at as a collective, as a whole in humanity. So the first card that we pulled was Blessings of the Moon Maiden. Now, this card is all about the divine wanting to bless us with a lot of abundance. And it asks us, the divine is asking us, to really dream big. Whatever your goal is, believe that you can achieve it, and then believe that there will be even more abundance to come with it. The divine really, really wants to bless us for all of the hard work we've been doing on this spiritual path. But as much as they want to bless us, again, like I said before, we have to give them space to. And part of that is just trusting in them and trusting in the flow of life and the universe to bring you good things. It's that power of attractions thing. But part of it is that we have to have room for those good things to come in. So all of these negative emotions that are coming up, all of these things that hurt or don't feel good, all of these people coming back from our past that we have unresolved issues with, we have to clear those things in order for that abundance to come in. The divine wants to bless us so much because we have been working so hard and we've done so good. They want to bless us beyond our wildest dreams, but we have to allow space for that. So we need to clear out that stuff, and we need to allow ourselves to expand our vision and dream big, think big. Whatever your goal is, you can achieve it, you will achieve it, and then there will be even more abundance you can possibly imagine. The next card is, you can see that, Sweeping Sister Willow. This card is all about forgiveness. So a lot of what's going on right now with this clearing, especially if you've had people coming back from your past, or you're feeling guilt about things that you've done in the past, forgiveness is a big theme right here. Forgiveness is really closely linked to that fear, because when we don't forgive, we have all of this fear about what we could have done better, or what somebody else should have done better. And because we spend all that time thinking about that, it makes us fearful of the future, because it makes us think, well, what if I make the same mistake in the future? What if I hurt somebody again the same way that I hurt them? What if I hurt myself again the same way? What if I don't step into my mission? What if I don't step into my purpose? What if I don't pursue my goals like I mean to? What if I screw up again? Or if you've been hurt by somebody else in the past, what if somebody else hurts me again in the same way? What if I haven't learned my lesson? What if I trust again and I get betrayed again? What if that person comes back and tries to get back into my life? Am I obligated to let them back in if I don't want to? And all of those things. So forgiveness is a big theme with this fear. We really need to forgive ourselves, and we need to forgive other people. So when we do forgive and we truly forgive, we let go of that pain that we have associated with those memories or those people. Now, that doesn't mean, when we're talking about people from our past who have hurt us, that doesn't mean that we have to let them back into our lives. All it means is that we're letting go of that pain that we associated with that person, so that we don't hold that person's transgressions against anybody else in the future. And we also show compassion for that person that hurt us, because we acknowledge that just as we're always growing and striving and learning, and we're always making mistakes on our own path, so are other people. We're all growing at our own rate. And so forgiveness is really an important thing in letting go of fear, because when we forgive, we don't have that fear about the future, and that allows us to let the past stay in the past. The third card was Spin the Silken Thread Divine. And that card, it goes in line with the other ones really well, because it's about letting go of the things from the past that we don't need anymore. As we're going through our spiritual evolution, we're creating something. We're creating something of ourselves. We're creating something beautiful through our expression. We're creating this masterpiece of ourselves and of our lives. And so with all of the things that we experience, good, bad, and different, we add to that masterpiece. But there's also, from all of those things, a lot of residue, a lot of leftovers, a lot of junk that isn't part of the masterpiece. They help create it, so we can be thankful that they helped create it. But we don't need that residue that's sitting around. If you've made an art project, you don't hold on to all the extra little bags and every bit of glitter or whatever it is. There are things that we keep because they are part of that creative endeavor, part of that masterpiece. There are things that we keep because we can use them again in the future. And then there are things that we let go of because we're not going to be able to use them again. And we don't need them anymore. They serve their purpose. We can be grateful for the purpose that they serve, but we don't have to hold on to them. So spinning the silken thread divine is really just about keeping your focus on this beautiful masterpiece that you've created, or that you're in the process of creating, and then letting go of all the crap that you just don't need anymore. You don't have to hold on to everything. Don't be a hoarder of emotions and memories and people and all of that. That's not necessary. Focus on your creative abilities. Focus on your projects. Focus on your goals. Focus on those things, and focus on the beauty that you've already created. Focus on the things that you've accomplished already, and focus on how beautiful you are in this present moment because of everything that you have gone through, everything that you've survived, every obstacle that you've overcome, every transition that you've managed to get through alive. All of those things, those are things to be proud of. So hold on to that and let go of the rest. Forgive, let go, just leave the past in the past. That's what the divine's really wanting from us. And I think it's really interesting to note too, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in these cards, but both the blessings of the Moon Maiden, right here in the picture, you'll see a bunny. And right here, and Spin the Silken Thread Divine, you'll see another bunny. So in the medicine cards, rabbits represent our fear. They're very representative of that wariness, that always looking over your shoulder, always being super observant of everything around you because you feel like you're prey. But we're not prey, okay? We may have felt like we were in the past, and in the past maybe we were truly victimized and there was nothing that we could do about it. But we don't have to be that way right now. We don't have to be that way going forward. So let go of your fear. You don't need it. It's not helping you. It's not serving you. Stop constantly looking over your shoulder. Stop constantly expecting to get hurt. Move into this new era of your life with joy and excitement and optimism, and use that law of attractions to bring wonderful, amazing abundance into your life, because the divine is so ready to give that to us, to reward us for all of our hard work. I also pulled 6 cards from the medicine cards. So we will start with this one, Bat. So Bat is all about a death and rebirth process. That's what we're going through right now. We are going through a spiritual death and rebirth process, and we've been doing that in cycles because everything is cyclical. But right now, this one that we're going through, for a lot of us, is particularly intense. Maybe not intense in the same ways they used to be. I know this is a completely different sort of intensity for me than I had when I was going through my death and rebirth processes last year. Last year, I was a total and complete wreck. I was hardly functional. I was having a hard time even going to work and taking care of all the daily things that I have to take care of. I'm not having that anymore, but this is intense in a completely different way, because I feel like the last vestiges of pain that I was holding on to from my past, the last little bit of unforgiveness, of resentment, all of those things I've used as protective mechanisms to keep other people at a distance and to keep me from potentially failing. All of those things, the last bit of it, the residue, the last vestiges, that's leaving me now. And that's terrifying in some ways, because when we've removed those fears, we've removed a big part of our defense system. And that can be hard for us, because it's like, well, what now? I spent all of this time nursing these wounds and surrounding myself with a fortress. And so if all of those things are gone, or even most of those things are gone, then I'm exposed, and I have to rise to new challenges, and I have to live in a new way, and I'm perceiving the world differently, and I'm looking at people differently. So there's this expansion of our way of thinking. There's a rewiring of our brain chemistry that's going on. We're learning how to exist in a completely new way. So with Bat in this instance, this death that we're going through, in some ways, is a final death. We're always going to be clearing things. We're always going to have things that come up. We're human. We're going to pick that stuff up and always have to clear more and deal with more. But this particular transition in our energy, for a lot of us, it's giving us an opportunity to really just let go of the residue from stuff that we've been trying to clear for years. We've made all of this progress, and we've done really, really well, and we've forgiven a lot, and we've had a lot of compassion, and we've learned a lot, and we're really stepping forward on our spiritual path. But we still have just that little bit of residue, that little bit of defensiveness that we're holding on to, that little bit of resentment or bitterness or unforgiveness. We're still holding on to it just a tiny bit. And so this is giving us an opportunity to really let go of it. It may not feel like an opportunity. It may feel like it's being shoved on us without any choice. I had something like that come up for me just yesterday. Somebody from my past that I had cut contact with definitively, and that I had just decided that their presence in my life was not benefiting me. It wasn't in my highest good. They came back via social media, and I was like, well, now what? Because this was something that I had marked as like, I'm done with this. Well, then it brought up these emotions that I haven't felt in a while. And one of those emotions was fear. And it was also a little bit of self-doubt. Like, I thought that like I had forgiven this person. I mostly have, but there's still a part of me that's defensive because I have a history of trauma with them and a lot of fighting that we've done in the past. And so there's that little part of me that wants to be defensive, because I feel like I have to protect myself, and I have to remind myself, and part of this shift for me in letting things go is reminding myself that I don't have to protect myself so aggressively, that I can continue on my path the way that I see fit, and I can make a new decision. I can choose to let this person back into my life, but under different boundaries or circumstances or whatever, or I can choose to keep going the way that I've been going and just let that go. And I'm in the process of doing that right now. Those are the sorts of things that are going to come up with this eclipse energy that have probably been coming up for you for the last few weeks. But if it feels like it's become intensified, it's because we're really in crunch time now. So death and rebirth. Let go of that stuff that's no longer serving you, because we are moving into a completely new way of being, and it's going to be wonderful and amazing, and you'll be happy, and you'll be able to start really pursuing those goals in ways that you've never been able to before, and you'll start seeing abundance coming into your life, but you have to let go of what's not serving you anymore. So the next card that I pulled was Ant. And what Ant teaches us is patience. And that's super important right now, for us to be patient with ourselves and patient with other people. Patient with ourselves as we're experiencing these things coming back up and making new decisions and re-experiencing old traumas. We really need to be patient with ourselves and compassionate with ourselves, because this is a process. It's not something we can just snap our fingers and say, okay, I'm good, I'm done. That was nice to have that come back up, but yeah, I just don't need that. It's a process. We still have to feel those things. We still re-experience those things so that we can really let go of it for good this time. And some of that patience is also being patient with other people, because we are also in Mercury retrograde. So we're going to have that tendency towards aggression, towards misunderstandings, toward just being irritable. I've been noticing that my patience level for my roommate has gone like this since Mercury went into retrograde. And it's not her, and it's not really me. It's just I have less patience right now. And so I'm really working on that, and really working on keeping myself centered and being patient with myself as I'm feeling these emotions coming up, and being patient with her, because ultimately nothing has really changed. I was totally fine with the way she was and the way things were at the house a couple of weeks ago, but now all of a sudden the little things are bothering me again. So really be patient with yourself, be patient with the people around you. This is part of the process. So just, if you find yourself getting irritable, or like you want to yell at somebody or throw something at them, take a moment and breathe and remind yourself to be patient. So the next card that I pulled was Bear. What Bear teaches us is about introspection. It's about really going within. And I know for those of you who have been on the spiritual path for a long time, you've been going in and going within and going within and going within over and over and over and over again, sometimes to the point where you're not remembering the last time you saw daylight. I know, I've been there before, but as we're going through this process, and another transition, another purge, another gateway, we're having to introspect again. All of these things that are coming up, we really have to think about them and process them And that's important for us to do right now. So let yourself go within, go into your cave. The other thing that my guides told me with this card was it's not just about introspection. It's also about not being afraid to go within. So a lot of the things that are coming up, especially if they are old traumas that you have dealt with over and over again, and you're just tired of facing them, and you still have this fear around them, this card, Bear, is telling us that, yeah, we have to go back into our cave again, and it is dark in there. And the further back we go, the darker it is. But don't be afraid of it, because it's just the unknown. It's uncertainty. That uncertainty comes from, well, what if I let this go? Am I losing some major part of myself? Am I not going to be as safe if I let this go? If I forgive, am I not going to be safe anymore? So with Bear, it's really teaching us to go into our cave and go as far back as we possibly can and just sit in silence in that darkness and let whatever comes up come up. Whatever fear is there, just let it rise within you, and then stop holding on to it. You don't have to cling to it. Let it come up, acknowledge it, accept that it served its purpose at one time, and then breathe. Just let it go, because we don't need it anymore. The next card that I pulled, ironically, was Rabbit. So, as I was saying before, rabbits and the medicine cards represent fear. So this card, especially with its placement, is telling us that we really, really, again, need to let go of that fear. It ties into Bear and going into that introspection and going deep within our cave. That darkness is terrifying, and we may remember things that maybe we haven't dealt with yet. And that's even more scary than having to rehash the things that we've been dealing with consciously over and over. And when we deal with these things consciously over and over, and they keep coming up and they keep coming up and they keep coming up, there's always that risk that something new will come up, something that we didn't remember, some buried trauma that we'd completely forgotten about that affected us in ways that we weren't familiar with. And so that's kind of what part of this is too. Some of the fear that we're having is, what else is there? I've dealt with these things as much as I can. It keeps coming back. I feel like it's haunting me. And if these things keep coming back, why? Is there some deeper reason for it? Is there something that I'm not remembering that's causing me to stay in this state of fear about this particular person or this time in my life or this event, or in fear of myself because of something that I did? Is there something that I'm forgetting that's going to come up too? So that's terrifying as well. But what Rabbit is trying to tell us is that being afraid of those things isn't doing us any good. We've got to let go of that fear. I know I keep saying that and hounding on it, but it's still true, and it still needs to be rehashed. We have to let go of these fears that we have, the fears of our past, the fears, the things that we may not remember, the fears that we have about our future or about ourselves or about other people. Those things aren't serving us. Fear does not serve us, except for in those rare situations where we are dependent upon our fear response for survival. But where most of us, at least, I hope all of us, are not in that spot right now. So let go. Just let go. It's not helping you any. And this card is a little bit of hope for us. Black Panther is representative of the void. It's representative of uncertainty, and uncertainty can be scary, but that void is where creation happens. So we're dealing with all these fears. We're going deep within. And when we face our fears within ourselves, when we go as deep into that cave as we possibly can, and we face those fears, that's helping us to level up. Because the next step in facing our fears is facing the void and the fear that we all have of uncertainty. Because that's what Black Panther is all about. It's about that void that we find ourselves in that transition of, okay, so I've really cleared all of these things, I've done really good, I've completed this project, or I've almost completed this project. well, then what? I've worked on this for so long. What comes next? I focused on this for so long. I never really thought about the future. Or I was this way for so long, and now I've changed. I've grown. I've evolved. And that's awesome. But what do I do with it? And a lot of us are in that spot right now. I've been in that spot for most of this year, and it's really been amplified over the past few weeks of, okay, the things that I always considered to be stable aren't there anymore. The things that I always thought of as being a part of myself, these innate parts of myself, they weren't so innate, and they're things that I've let go of and I've evolved past. But now what? Now I'm not struggling all the time just to do the daily activities. Now I'm not struggling all the time to keep my head above water. Now my horizons have expanded, and I have all of these opportunities and these potential directions that I could go. And which one do I choose? And will I be enough? I don't know, because this is a new version of me. So I don't know what I'm capable of anymore. Those are the sorts of things that we're beginning to walk in now. For those of us who have been on the spiritual path for a long time, we're starting to walk into that void of uncertainty, that space where we're able to be creative. And when we've dealt with our internal fears about our past and all of that, that allows us to level up so we can step into that void. But then we have to overcome our fear of that void. But when we do overcome our fear of the void and start being creative, we get Hummingbird. And Hummingbird is all about joy. It's about finding joy in the little things in life, in the big things in life. It's about letting your life be filled with abundance and happiness and bliss, and moving forward on a more fulfilling path. Letting yourself be happy because you've let go of the fear. You've let those parts of yourself fade away that weren't helping you anymore. You've healed a lot of things. You've cut ties with things that weren't in your highest good. You've done all this work. And so, you know what comes next in that void? The capacity for joy. If we can overcome our fears within ourselves and overcome our fear of our worthiness, of our ability to create, if we can let go of that fear, we can overcome all of that. And I know that sounds really intimidating, but it's really not as difficult as it seems. We just have to surrender, which I know, again, simple concept, not so easy to do. Keep working at it, you'll get there. Because when we overcome all those fears and we've surpassed all of these obstacles and we've come out triumphant and we start creating and we really step into our mission, step into who we really are, that brings us joy. It brings us joy in the form of career fulfillment, of new love relationships, of new friends coming in, of a completely new social network, of new knowledge and growth, of all sorts of things, financial abundance. It brings us a lot of those things because when we get past all of that fear, we're able to utilize that law of attractions to serve us. Because without that fear, we can really open ourselves up to the positive things, the ideas of abundance. So that's what we're doing right now. This is the path that we're on. So keep working at it. We are getting there. The divine wants to bless us so much. They are so ready to reward us for all of our hard work. So we just need to get through this crunch time, and whatever comes up, don't run away from it. Don't run away from it, and don't cling to it. Please don't cling to it, because it's not going to serve you any useful purpose. It's a beautiful opportunity to let it go, so please let it go. Please don't hold on to it anymore, unless you really feel like you have to hold on to that fear a while longer for your own growth. Otherwise, just let it pass. Leave the past in the past. Move into a happier way of being. Keep growing, keep moving forward, and don't expect to always have to struggle. That's been one of the biggest lessons for me this year, is to stop struggling. Because I always believed for the longest time that unless I struggled, if I didn't have to fight for every inch of progress that I made, for every little bit of abundance that I had, then I wasn't worthy of it. I believed that everything had to be a struggle in order for me to have earned it. And that's not true. Sometimes we do have to struggle. That is part of growth. is going through these challenges and having to struggle through them, having to muddle our way through life. So yes, sometimes that is the case, but not everything has to be a struggle. Sometimes we grow through positive experiences, and a lot of times we can grow through positive experiences. So keep that in mind too. What you're moving toward right now is a life that's not centered around struggle. It's not centered around fear. It's a life that's going to be extraordinary. It's going to open your horizons and just open your mind and let you explore things in new ways and have fun and just really be expansive. So think big, dream big, let go of those fears, let the divine bless you, walk into your mission and into your creativity, because that's going to bring you joy. It really will. It will bring you so much joy and so much joy to the lives of those around you as well. So the last thing here with my soapbox is that my team told me that I had to face one of my fears, because they essentially said, yeah, you can get up on your soapbox and you can explain the things that you've already done to face your fears, but you know what? You still have fears, and you should have some skin in the game. So they've pushed me to confront one of my biggest fears. So when I was little, I was an exceptionally shy child. I was very, very shy, and I've been really shy for most of my life, really up until maybe the last 6 months or so. And the only thing when I was little that I wasn't afraid to do in terms of expressing myself was sing. My mom taught me how to sing almost as soon as I could talk. I think my first live performance, I was 3 years old. And I loved singing. I sang everywhere I went. I annoyed the crap out of my sister all the time, singing songs that she absolutely hated. And it was this form of expression for me that allowed me to be somebody else for a while. I felt it allowed me to express myself in ways that I was too shy to express myself in verbally. It allowed me to connect to people and to get praise from people, and so I really loved singing. But along the line, things at home started being really not good, and silence kind of became the state of being for our home. So, and it was like deathly silence, because the slightest word could trigger somebody in the family and it could turn into this major crisis. And so we spent so much time just being so quiet, and I spent so much time being so quiet because I was afraid of bad things happening if I made noise. And as time went on, I started being afraid of singing too. And the experiences at home and all of that instability made it really difficult for me, and in addition to some pre-existing stuff that I had going on, made it really difficult for me to connect to other people. And with that shyness in combination with just the silence at home and the awkwardness that I felt around other people and how isolated my family really was from other people, I couldn't talk to people very well. And when I did, it was like I had two speeds. Either I was completely quiet and super shy, or I was super pushy. So I was either Miss Bossy or I was really timid and meek. And there's not like a whole lot of room in between there. And so I didn't fit in, and I got bullied a lot. And that just made me it made me want to fit in even more. And so I would try to be special. I would try to stand out, and singing was one of the ways that I did that, but it didn't work. And I started being even more isolated from people. And so then, since I couldn't fit in and I couldn't be special, and everything I did seemed to end in embarrassment, I decided that the best way for me to handle things was then to just shut off from people. Just shut down, turn into Fort Knox, send up those walls, and keep people away. Just kind of have this screw you attitude, and I don't want to talk to you. And it was all me hiding that fear. And I've been afraid until recently of expressing myself. It's only been recently that I've really started to open up to people, because again, I would have those two speeds. Either I was super quiet, or I was just very strong personality and stating my beliefs, and I didn't really care about what anybody thought. So I never made small talk with people. I never really got to know people because I still had those walls up. And so recently I've started being able to express myself. But one of the things that faded over the years was my ability to sing in front of people, because I developed so much fear around expression, and then I developed a lot of fear around singing. And so for the last 7 years, I would say, I haven't sung in front of people. I sing in my car. I'll sing in the shower. I will even sing along with the radio in the car when somebody is with me, but it's always to be ridiculous. Like I throw in a ridiculous twang, or I'm not really singing seriously. And I certainly haven't performed for an audience in a very long time. And the idea of singing on a video that's going to be posted on the internet terrifies the ever-living hell out of me. And I think that's exactly why my team wants me to do it. In fact, they're kind of laughing right now. Not so much laughing at me, more just amused at how ridiculous it is that I'm so afraid of using one of my gifts, one of my natural gifts that I have. So that being said, because I gotta have some skin in the game too. I can't just tell you guys to let go of your fears and not face mine. I am going to post a video of me singing on here. And yeah, so we're all facing our fears together. We're all gonna get through these crazy energies. Whatever comes up, just face it, acknowledge it, and let go of what no longer serves you. Hold on to the things that do serve you, and don't be afraid to express yourself. Don't be afraid to move into that void. Don't be afraid to be creative, because you have so many gifts and abilities and such a capacity to bless the world and help others and help yourself with those gifts that you have, with those skills that you have, with the wisdom that you have developed through all of the things that you've experienced. Do not be afraid. Have faith in yourself. You are amazing and beautiful. So focus on that and let go with anything that comes up that's painful for you, because you don't have to hold on to it anymore. You don't have to struggle. Let yourself be happy. That's what these things are trying to teach us right now. This purge is throwing all of these curveballs at us because it's reminding us of all of the ways that we're holding ourselves back for no reason. We don't need to hold ourselves back. We are capable. We are strong. We are beautiful. We are worthy. And we have amazing gifts to share with the world. And we should, for the sake of the world, but also for our own sake, so we can continue growing in ways that are wonderful instead of horrifying. So stay with me. Stay with yourself through these energies. Ground yourself as much as you possibly can. Look to the skies. Dream big. And just know that you're worthy. You're awesome. So keep at it, okay? So the song that I'm choosing to sing is Life Uncommon. It's by Jewel, and it was on her 1998 album Spirit, if you want to check it out. And I'm choosing this song because, first of all, it's one of my favorite songs of all time. And I'm also choosing it because it's just so appropriate to the subject matter today. Because it's all about facing our fears and stepping into a life that's truly extraordinary. So, here goes. Don't worry, mother, it'll be all right. And don't worry, sister, say your prayers and sleep tight. And it'll be fine, lover of mine. It'll be just fine. So lend your voices only to sounds of freedom. No longer lend your strength to that which you wish to be free from. Fill your life with love and bravery, and you shall lead a life uncommon. I've heard your anguish Oh, I've heard your hearts cry out. We are tired, we are weary, but we aren't worn out. So set down your chains till only faith remains. Set down your chains and lend your voices only to sounds of freedom. No longer lend your strength to that which you wish to be free from. Fill your life with love and bravery, and you shall lead a life uncommon. There are plenty of people who pray for peace, but if praying were enough, it would have come to be. Let your words enslave no one, and the heavens will hush themselves to hear. Our voices ring out clear with sounds of freedom, with sounds of freedom. Come on, you unbelievers, move out of the way, 'cause there is a new army coming, and we are armed with faith. To live, we must give to live. So lend our voices only to sounds of freedom. No longer lend our strength to that which we wish to be free from. We'll fill our lives with love and bravery, and we shall lead. And lend our voices only to sounds of freedom. No longer lend our strength to that which we wish to be free from. We'll fill our lives with love and bravery, and we shall lead a life uncommon. So there we have it. Thank you so much for letting me face one of my fears with all of you. Thank you so much also for spending this part of your day with me. I honor you, and wherever you're at in your process, we're all doing great, and we're all going to pull through these crazy solar energies together. So have a beautiful rest of your day, and namaste.